Hi, friends. Good evening. I'm Mukesh Tyagi. I just want to draw your attention to one of the most serious challenges Delhi's people are facing. And it is not for the first time in October, November, the pollution level becomes world most dangerous levels to the point that there is no meter to calibrate the impact of pollution. It has touched almost 999, where the standard is about 50 to 100 AQI. And this particular matter, 2.5, is extremely dangerous for any respiratory complications, cardiovascular complications, and Kejriwal had promised that he will be able to address the pollution matters. I think he has completed more than 8 years in the government, in Delhi government, and he has miserably failed in combating the pollution in Delhi. Do you know? We smoke almost 30 cigarettes a day because of the pollution. And this can be so dangerous for children because it's an invisible impact on our health. And Kejriwal government is in deep slumber, just cosmetic engagement. No wonder the Greek playwright Euripides once wrote, "When one with honeyed words but evil mind persuades the mob, great woes befall the state." The people of Delhi are realizing this after trusting the Arvind Kejriwal led Aam Aadmi Party. The right to life, guaranteed under the Constitution, is under threat as the city and its surrounding areas are shrouded in a thick cloak of smoke and other pollutants. The murky skyline is a cruel reminder that the AAP led government in Delhi has no plans to tackle pollution but offers a series of excuses. The environment and economic cost of unchecked pollution encompasses a large gamut of consequences, impacting everything from public health to productivity and investment potential. Kejriwal government has been promising to deliver clean, breathable air to the capital for years, but the Delhi CM words have been at odds with his action. As with his declared commitment to clean the Yamuna, Kejriwal approach to combating air pollution lacks a long-term strategy. It is true that addressing the problem requires a multi-pronged approach, but the Delhi government has never really shown adequate resolve or owned the issue. It has never given evidence of putting in place measures that can be implemented on a sustained basis. Kejriwal and his colleagues are more interested in making political statements. The plans to implement the odd even scheme have been put off for now, but the truth is the scheme was never a magic wand to tackle pollution. You see, my biggest problem is that we have a National Green Tribunal, and of course it has been upheld by the Supreme Court to ban the 10 years diesel cars and 15 years petrol car. So this measure was intended to design to combat a level of pollution in Delhi and NCR, which includes Faridabad, which includes Noida and Gurgaon. Now, I am of the very, very firm opinion. People may not like it, and it's with due respect to NGT and due respect to Supreme Court of India. Whenever we announce any scheme, we must come out with empirical data that introduction of this scheme will lead to targeted reduction of the pollution levels during the peak time, not in the when there is no pollution, not that time. Like for example, October, November, December, January, the winter times, they must come out with the guaranteed reduction, target reduction. It's so subjective in nature. And poor people who cannot afford to replace their cars, they are subjected to this stringent regulations and they are asked to buy new cars. Then there is another scheme of BS4, BS3, Now, can you imagine the kind of inconvenience commuters go through every time the notification changes? This knee jerk reaction is absolutely preposterous without any counter accountability. It's a unilateral in nature. It imposes huge amount of restrictions and and makes a hole in the taxpayers' money who have to buy, or the office goers who are taking loans on EMI. They are getting a frugal salaries. They have to commute from long distance, and the pollution remains maybe much higher. An odd and even scheme was designed with the same fashion, so it has become more cosmetic. It's like you're just trying to superficially put the ointment without curing the wound. And that is where things are going wrong. We are continuously grappling the poor citizens of country. I would call it to the extent that it's an indirect murder or attempt to kill citizens of the country. Now, Kejriwal government says that is a national problem. So he's shifting his blame to the center. Prime Minister Modi, if you see his G20 speech, his speech in US, he is a very committed signatory to the Paris Agreement 2015, where we have committed for NDCs. We are part of the International Solar Alliance. We are committed to replace the fossil fuel energy by the green fuel to the extent of 750 gigawatt. So this is the kind of commitment. We also want to create a carbon sink by massive forestation, almost to the extent of 2.5 to 3 billion, so that there is a huge forestation. And Prime Minister Modi is relentlessly working to protect the climate against these things. But Mr. Kejriwal, who is only interested in his political ambitions and trying to give lollipop to the citizens, to the people who are living in, my recommendation is that we must scrap this 10 years and 15 years restriction on the diesel and petrol cars. In the Western world, there is a system that these cars go through MOTs, and there can be a regulated MOTs where you can calibrate your and reduce the carbon pollution. So this kind of BS4, BS3, or even 10 years, 15 years, the real problem lies in the huge construction industry. The parali, the stubble, which is burnt in Punjab, which is ruled by our party. Despite the order, they are disregarding ruthlessly and they're burning frequently. I can't tell you the status right now, but it is running into few lakhs which are burnt in Punjab. So my suggestion is the way China has combated its environmental pollution issue, we must follow the same model in Delhi, and we should not differentiate between Delhi, Gurgaon, and Noida. They're part of the NCR. Now, what is happening is even Uber, Ola cannot commute to Delhi if it belongs to Haryana registration. And Delhi registration cannot commute to Haryana. Now, what is this mockery? If you call it NCR, National Capital Region, then how do you make this structural difference? To the extent there is a huge queue on the borders of Delhi and Haryana and Noida and Delhi, and there are lots of checking going on. They stop the vehicles in between. There's a huge jam. So now the police enforcement authorities, when the rains fell, they were oblivious to it. They are physically and ruthlessly implementing the notification when rain happened. Then the pollution level came down, but still they were stopping the BS3 and BS4 vehicles. So I think there is no intelligence, there is no common sense. So such kind of inconvenience to the citizen should be reduced completely. And my request to Honorable Supreme Court and National Green Tribunal to review that decision. once again in a public interest and take this so motto so that these kinds of very, very non-effective, non-productive restrictions, and it will save a lot of money to the poor citizens of the country, and they can be subjected to number of pollution controls, mechanical improvements in the vehicle. But a country like India, which is poor country, a large number of people live practically on a very, very frugal means, and they are subjected to buy the expensive cars. No car is costing less than 5-7 lakh rupees. They pay the EMI, and what do they do with old car that goes as scrap? So I think India has not reached to that economic luxury where they can afford to introduce such regressive, such difficult legislations. This odd even is again subjecting, it means you need to have two numbers of car. That's another impact on the citizens. Then again BS3, BS4. So you are crippling and paralyzing the normal life of the citizens. So my recommendation and my honest submission to Honorable Supreme Court to revoke these notifications and allow the normalcy to prevail, whereas at a macro level they need to introduce a huge investment into the pollution combating devices like smog or rain seeding. Now there is a proposal that we must do the rain seeding, which means artificial rain. But I think these are welcoming measures. You need to do more plantations. You need to reduce the construction activities. You need to stop completely the stubble burning, and because this is extremely dangerous. I think the crop pattern is also responsible for that. We need to reschedule our crop pattern. The farmers need to get educated. And no wonder Prime Minister Modi's commitment by 2030 that our intensity of energy will get reduced by 25 to 30%, which has gone up to 40% now after G20. I think we all need to, citizens and the government and all the bodies, they need to come together, put their head together and take it as serious as coronavirus had hit us. If we do not address this issue now, all the developments, everything possible, there will be a sickness across the society, and I would not be reserving my statement in saying this is indirect way an attempt to murder. So Jai Hind, and I hope sanity will prevail, and some strong lobbies who are trying to push their automobiles should try to review this decision because it impacts the society at large. Thank you. Jai Hind.